Well, good morning, my Teaser King family. We'll take a look ahead at next week. What should happen on comics? We'll see if it does. We know what's going to happen. It's just the timing of it, of course. Um, you know, we know gold's going to 10,000. Yeah, okay. So they played their hand. Okay, yeah, they're not interested. It's all bullshit. It's all paper. So anyway, so we'll look at what's going ahead, what should be ahead, not what Mr. Fuji AI is saying, but what we think it is. Um, we'll look at the Super Bowl again. I think we've already given the pick. I think the only thing in the Super Bowl will be is if Darnold chokes. We think he's not choking because of what he did against the Rams, where they actually scored a lot of points, and he didn't choke. They never really blitzed him too badly. I think New England will, but will Darnold choke or will Darnold be okay? And that's the whole game. But we think the difference is they got Kenneth Walker to run the ball to keep the blitz from coming, which they didn't have on Minnesota. They didn't have a running back, so the Lions could just blitz them, and that's what the Rams did, I think, in the playoff game. I think they played the Rams, and they just blitzed him, and he fell apart. So now with the running game, they can't just blitz him because he can just hand off to Walker, and Walker's this great running back. I don't think he'll choke as much. Drake May, we have no idea. We don't know if he's a choke or not. He hasn't been in a big game yet. The game against Denver, he choked pretty badly. The game against Houston, he was okay, but he got 5 turnovers by C.J. Stroud and a pick 6, which made him look, not as chokeable. They're giving him the ball at the 10-yard line. Anyway, so Super Bowl, it's a little different. Now, does New England do what Bill Belichick did, which is, we'll hit the receivers really hard? Well, I don't think that's going to work against Seattle. Not today, because if you start hitting Smith and Jimbo or their other receivers who I don't even know who they have, I don't think you get away with it now. So Belichick, yeah, he cheated. He told his players to be dirty and do a lot of illegal stuff. It's funny, when the Raiders did it, it was bad. When Belichick did it, everything's fine. Jack Tatum would hit you and knock you out. That was bad. So I think what'll happen in this Super Bowl, I think Seattle, their defense will dominate. New England's got a good defense. I don't think they're going to stop Walker. And, Darnold, he can choke, as we've seen many times. So we just hope he doesn't choke too badly. But it's like asking Jared Goff not to choke in a big game. He's going to choke in a big game. When they pressure him, he falls apart. We know that. So it shouldn't be a surprise. But in this case, I think the defense a little bit belongs to Seattle, but they're pretty close. So that'll keep the score down. Anyway, that's why the best free play is the under in the game. But then in the teaser, we got to play 2. So then we play we think Seattle wins because they got Kenneth Walker. And I think that's the difference. New England doesn't have a running attack at all. And Drake May is the running attack. When Drake May has to be the running attack, you got a problem. So I just don't think he can go down and score touchdowns. I don't think he's capable against this defense. We think Darnell will be more capable and hand the ball to Walker. The difference with these running quarterbacks is these running quarterbacks think they can run, that they should run, not hand the ball off and not throw the ball. If you're running and not throwing, Lamar, you've got big problems because they'll just play you for the run, right? So you've got to be there. You've got to be able to throw the ball to the receivers. Otherwise, the safeties come up and you're screwed. You're not going to do anything. A quick moment on my flagging of the video yesterday. Somebody was monetizing it, and since I'm monetizing, even though I don't get any money from this, they said no, it isn't. However, watching my video, you can see most of the attack on Wall Street, the important stuff, and the other thing is it didn't get blocked or striked. Nothing happened to me. You can still see the video. I will take the second video off because that was sort of like, hey, this is what the first one was about. But you got enough big enough gist on the first one. I'll just, I'm going to take the second one down now, actually, as long as we're in class. So let's take part 2 down, and we'll delete it. All right, so the pretty one with the Statue of Liberty, or the Niagara Falls, I'll use Niagara Falls today. So I can still show, like Mark McGuire is not a problem, or Egon, apparently those are fine. Attack on Wall Street, somebody was monetizing. It was not in our country. I couldn't even read it, who it was, Spain or somewhere. But that was the problem. So, because I show videos all the time and I never get any issues with them. Again, Mark McGuire or Egon is not going to give me, the flag. So that was good. Good morning, Frost TM. I buy silver at 84 with my rent money. If Monday it's not up, I'm dead. Don't worry about that. It's not a one-day thing. It's not a stock. You'll be fine. You just have to wait on it. And you shouldn't be using your rent money. This is not a short-term, I'm buying gold and silver so I can sell it tomorrow. Okay, this is not really we're not trying to profit take this. So when I show you mine, okay, I bought this at $60, 30 an ounce. This is a 2-ouncer. So this I paid $60 for. And now it's worth what, 90? So I get 180 for it. Or when it was 100, I'd get 200. I'm not looking to sell it. I'm not looking to profit take it. This is about getting out of your dollars. This is about, this is worthless. I'm going to sell this and go into gold and silver because there's nothing else to buy. I can't buy euros or British pounds. So I don't know if you owe rent and you're thinking of selling the 84 at 90 and then you can pay rent and make a few dollars. That's not what we're doing here. I get what you're doing as far as that. I don't get if you're trying to pay rent with it higher. You'll take a look at China tonight. China comes on about, let's say, 6 o'clock or so, maybe 6:15, and you should see a huge spike. Now, I'm not going to sell on the huge spike up. So I don't agree. It's like betting football. You can't bet with your rent money. You got to bet with money that you can afford to lose. In this, you've got money that you are Rumpelstiltskin it into gold and silver, but it's certainly we're not looking to turn it around and profit take it. This is not the apparatus to profit take. This is the profit. You're gonna make a lot of profit because the dollar's worthless and they can't do anything to fix it. but you don't really, oh, I'll get it, and then I can pay rent with what I get. Because when it goes up to 500 an ounce, then what are you going to do, right? So you bought it at 84, it goes to 90, you pay rent, but then when it goes to 500, you could have made, $500, $400 on it. So uh, if you're going to use rent money, it's got to be money you can afford to wait on. But again, this is really not, I'm not looking to sell this 2 ouncer at all, ever. Uh, it's to get out of dollars. I mean, again, the game is, this is worthless, so I'm getting out of this. Why is it worthless? Because these idiots are printing it too much out there. They're printing it. Petrodollar's gone. Everything's gone. This has no value. And then I need to trade it or Rumpelstiltskin it and turn it into gold or silver. But again, you're not trying to profit take it. You're not looking to, it went up to 94, I made $10 an ounce on it, and now I'm going to sell it. No. This is, you're going to be holding on till it at 1,000 an ounce, and you're going to be going, great, now I got all this. And then maybe you sell an ounce or two at that time. So this is not, we're not playing poker here where I go and take 300 out and try to win, and then, okay. But even then, I'm not playing rent money. That's a very dangerous thing to do. If you need this money by tomorrow, which is the second or the third, and you need the money for that, you're not playing the right game. Now, I understand you might not have a lot of money, and maybe you can't do that, but you can't do it with rent money. But you'll be fine doing it this time. But I would take money that is not your rent or your expense and extra money, and then that's what I would do it. So I think you're good at 84. You got a good price on the silver, and it will go to 1,000. You just got to wait. I think by summer it should be 500 or so. This again was the banks trying to get out of their dollars, trying to get out of their shorts. And this has got to come back up. I don't see why it wouldn't. Nothing's changed. The demand for silver and gold is huge. The supply is none. So why would the price go down? Now, I think what needs to happen is we need a physical market. And then if you want to have this bullshit COMEX Ponzi scheme, and then so if the banks need to get out of their options, it shouldn't affect the physical price. So the physical price needs to be separated from this bullshit paper price. And, the suppression of keeping the price down, I think, is just really ridiculous. I'm not understanding it at all, why it's there. It really shouldn't be there. It's a very stupid system. It really doesn't make any sense. So I am expecting it should pop back up. You can see it hit 76. So the point was to get out. Hey, John C. The point was to get out of their options. That's what Friday was, because it was mark to market day, right? So because it was mark to market day, that's why it happened Friday. But I would think this should be normal. I mean, if we didn't have mark to market day, it would still be 120 and 5,600. So I don't see why it wouldn't come back. And again, this is not the U.S. only. This is China and Europe and Asia and Japan and Russia. This is everybody playing in this game. So they want a higher gold and silver price, the BRICS countries. So that's mostly China. So if this doesn't, by 9 o'clock, this isn't, $100 silver and 5,100 gold. I'll be totally shocked. But everybody wants the price up. All the bullion banks apparently are long in this, which means they want a higher price. So why would it keep going down? And it's just, it makes really no sense. Is Brady a hot TK? Some say no. A Hall of Fame TK. Oh, well, yeah, I think Brady's a Hall of Fame TK, sure. He won all the Super Bowls, not Belichick. See, so is Belichick a Hall of Famer? I would probably say no. If you're calling it because he won 7 Super Bowls, I say Brady won 7 Super Bowls. He was along for the ride. He didn't do anything. He took that one guy out of the Philadelphia game and cost them a Super Bowl, which is like Dan Campbell costing the Lions a chance to be in the Super Bowl with his incredibly stupid pulling that one cornerback, McCarty or something, out 5 minutes before the game. He's crying. Everybody's crying. Yeah, let's go win a game. What, are you kidding me? So I thought that was a big negative against him. But I didn't like what he did. At the Giants, it was all Bill Parcells. I think he copied a lot of Bill Parcells stuff. So I'm not quite sure. Again, he didn't win the Super Bowl. It was Brady. So it's like Andy Reid and Mahomes. Andy Reid's not winning shit. Mahomes is winning the Super Bowls. So how do you differentiate it? I mean, so I guess the coach gets a free pass because they won the Super Bowl and he gets some sort of credit, but it's all Mahomes winning the Super Bowls, especially the Buffalo game. What did Andy Reid did? Buffalo scored with 13 seconds left. What's so good about Andy Reid? Nothing. He let him score late. Mahomes took him down 13 seconds and tied the field goal and then won it in overtime. It was Mahomes who won the Super Bowls. Andy Reid had him down 10 to the Niners and down 10 in other Super Bowls, and then Mahomes pulled him out. So too much credit goes to the coach, and not enough credit goes to the quarterback. So Brady absolutely is a Hall of Fame quarterback, just like Joe Montana. The difference is Bill Walsh actually did win them with Montana. But that's the dicey part. Chuck Noll won them, but he had the greatest team in the history of life. Lombardi did win them. Barstar didn't win them for him. Lombardi won it. The teams that have good strategy and good defenses and win with that, that's the coach. Puxy. Hello, Robert. Who's Robert? I'm not Robert. Minimum purchase and sell price for precious metals in Singapore. Oh, this is Pat. Yeah, it's Howard, not Robert. Hi, Pat. Minimum purchase and sell price for precious metals in Singapore now has a $20 minimum. 20,000. It's not Yutzi, it's Pat from Singapore. I'm confused, Pat. Minimum purchase and sell price for precious metals in Singapore now has a $20,000 minimum. So if you want to buy silver, you have to buy $20,000 worth. Is that what so you can't buy 5 ounces. You got to buy 20,000. So what is silver selling for now in Singapore? Are the stores open and you go in and what's it selling for? This should help us for tonight. But I'm Howard, not Robert. I got to call you Pooksy until I get it that it's Pat. Pat knows. He just, I don't know. It's the time change in Singapore. So, Pat, what is the price of gold and silver now at your stores? this will help us figure out what's going to happen tonight because we're right in the eye of the tiger here. We're at that. Anyway, so the Super Bowl, usually it's the best defense wins. Ray Lewis, the Steelers, the Niners, when they had theirs, they stopped Marino. So the best defense here, I think, is Seattle. But I think New England's got a good defense. The problem is New England is this whole schedule is all fucked up where you have bad teams playing bad teams and good teams playing good teams. KC should be in the playoffs. They got fucked. Baltimore got fucked a little also. Detroit definitely had a harder schedule, and they played like they did. But they lost twice to Green Bay and twice to Minnesota, which is that's their normal schedules. Even if they were last place, they'd have to play those teams. Anyway, so that's really what it is. Well, thanks, Johnny. It's just the name. Minimum purchase and sell price for precious metals and so now is a $20,000 minimum. So you need to buy or sell 20,000. Okay. I don't get that, but okay. I mean, all that hurts is the guy who wants to buy 5 ounces and sell 5 ounces, especially if it's silver. Silver shouldn't be 20,000 because let's say it's $100 an ounce. That's a lot to buy and sell is 20,000. So I'm a little surprised there. What's the point of that, Pat? Why 20,000? What are they trying to do? Anyway, so when you're looking at the Super Bowl, it really gets magnified. The weaknesses come out. The Drake May can't throw the ball will come out. He'll try to run. He's not going to run, especially in the red zone. I think Seattle's defense takes over like the Legion of Boom. And I think Kenneth Walker takes over, able to run the ball, and Darnold hitting Smith-Njigba and whoever else they got on offense. I don't know. I still think they were stupid to get rid of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So that was stupid. Anyway, that's how you look at most Super Bowls. Now let's look at Super Bowl III, the Jets and Baltimore. That was a fixed Super Bowl. But what happened? The Jets had a number 1 defense and Joe Namath, and Baltimore had a number 1 NFC defense, but they had Earl Morrall, and Earl Morrall was fixed, so he threw all these interceptions. I don't think Darnold's going to throw a bunch of interceptions, although he's certainly capable of. I don't know. Right now, the line's 4.5, 45.5, just where it's been. So I think you're looking at a low-scoring game, which is what I'm predicting, and I think Seattle just has too much. Beating the Niners twice and the Rams is pretty good. Beating San Diego and Houston and then Denver with a backup quarterback. So you face no good quarterbacks, right? C.J. Stroud stinks, and Stidham, who I watched the game yesterday. I watched the play. He didn't throw it backwards. He threw it forwards, and the guy knocked it backwards, which they, again, forget to mention that the defensive guy knocked it backwards. Incredibly bad announcing, all part of the fix, I guess. But that was their only touchdown, Houston, or New England. So they don't have the offense to really threaten this Seattle defense. If they're playing the Rams, maybe it's a different game. Maybe we bet it over. But in this case, against this defense, it makes it an under. They're going to have a hard time against Seattle's defense, and that's the key to it. And I'm sure Drake May will piss his pants because he's never been or won a big game yet. The Denver game was, it was against the backup, and it was cold. And Drake May didn't do anything to win the game. Yeah, he ran in from 5 yards on the bullshit call that was an incomplete pass. But that was it. Otherwise, if Denver just kicks the field goal at the 10, I don't know what they were thinking. Then it's 10-0, and then maybe Stidham's smart enough to just take the sack and punt. It's better than throwing an incomplete pass that gets turned into a lateral because of bad roughing. But you got to know that. So that's where I'm thinking. We'll get more into it as we go. I don't see any injuries except for the running back on Seattle. Whatchamacallit? Charbonnet. He's out, but we know that. But they got Kenneth Walker, so he's their starter anyway. Howard Cosell, I don't know if he was the best announcer. I was watching some good games. You had Kurt Gowdy, you had Al Michaels. No, not Al Michaels. You had Kurt Gowdy, you had Keith Jackson. I knew that didn't sound right. Keith Jackson was the best announcer. Whoa, Nelly. He was the best. He'd do the big college games. And Kurt Gowdy would do the Rose Bowl. And Chris Schenkel was great. And then he went to bowling. And then you have John, Pat Summerall and John Madden were good. Pat Summerall was very stoic. He just, it's a touchdown. And he'd be calm. And then you'd have the crowd all over. Now it's like, Herb Kirkstreet never shuts the fuck up. Chris Collinsworth doesn't. They all just talk to talk. They don't add anything. There's no benefit to having them there. In fact, they take away because Herb Kirkstreet's talking the whole time about nothing impactful. He's terrible. Where are you, Pat? You get lost. So again, I don't know what. So I got to buy 20,000 and sell 20,000 in silver and gold. I don't. That doesn't make any sense. Or a $20,000 premium. Singapore now has a $20 minimum, and then 20K. So what does that mean? So please explain, Pat. Anyway, so we'll see what Pat's doing in Singapore, but in China gets the ball first about 6:15 today. And that's the thing with COMEX. Notice when this all happened is when the U.S. took over, and it didn't happen even at 10 o'clock. It started, but it was really around 1:30, 2 o'clock when Asia and Europe were asleep. Right, so look at this dump happening. You can see 10 o'clock, it wasn't too bad. It was still 5,000, and it went up to 5,100 at 10 o'clock. It was this noon dump until about 2. So from noon to 2 is when it really dumped. And then it immediately comes back up. So it's phony, but it happened when the U.S. had the ball. So somebody thinks, well, it's when Trump made his announcement of the new Fed chairman, who isn't even the Fed chairman and might not even get voted in. What would that have to do with the price of tea in China? He can't stop the inflation. It doesn't change anything with gold and silver. This has nothing to do with the dollar strengthening or weakening. This has more to do with the inflation, that the dollar has no value. So the fact that the dollar strengthens, it's strengthening against other shit currencies, but it has nothing to do with the physical price of gold and silver. So I was on one guy's and I just called him an idiot, basically. I mean, it was just stupid. Oh yeah, it went down because Trump announced his guy who's supposed to be, well, if he's for gold and silver and sound money, there won't be inflation. No, you can't get rid of inflation. This is how stupid these people are. So understand, once you've printed the money, you can't unprint it. It's gone. The only option you have is to print, have gold-backed currency. That's the only way. That's how the 1923. That's what the Germans did. The Bundesmark, the Bundesbank mark, was worthless. They printed trillions and trillions of that. The only way it came back a little was to come out with the Deutschmark. So you had to basically replace it. So the only way this dollar is gone is to come out with a new US dollar. But if it isn't backed by gold, it's worthless anyway. So you need to back it by gold to have any hope that it's got a value, right? And we don't have any gold to buy it with. Now, is that what this was about? Lowering it so we get gold? No. This was about the banks saving the bank, fucking everybody else because they needed to get out of their options. Okay, now it's not the last day of the month. Now there's no more mark to market. So now they couldn't stop on Thursday when it hit 120 an ounce silver and 5,600 gold. How is it going to stop now? And keep in mind, this is about people buying gold. This is about people buying gold and silver, not necessarily contracts, but physical. So that's what it is. So this will not be, this is physical. This is about buying physical at these cheap prices, but the whole game has been about getting out of the dollar and buying physical. That's what this whole game's about. So why did it? Okay, we know why it stopped Friday, but why would it stop Monday? Why would this go down? You've already done it. Oh, we want the dollar to go to zero, or we want gold to go to zero. Who does that benefit? If all the bullion banks are long, means they want a higher price. They don't want it to go to zero. Then they're really fucked. It's not going to, it'll just go away and we'll just use the Shanghai pricing of 123. You can't have it Shanghai at 123 or 125, or if Pat comes back and tells us what it is in China, you won't, you can't have that and the US has zero. That makes no sense. So we've got to stop really looking at the COMEX price and look at the China price, what the real physical price is. And again, COMEX is not a physical market, but it really makes no sense for it to be zero. And again, China and the rest of the world will be buying at these low prices, asking for delivery. And if the bullion banks don't deliver, we're not going to just let this happen. All right, it can't. That's not the game here. So I expect it to be back in the hundreds silver and back at the 5,000s gold by the end of I'd say by 9 o'clock. We'll see what happens at the 10 o'clock drop if it gets hammered back down. Again, it's so stupid because that's when the U.S. has the ball. So when they knock it down, there's nobody really to push it up. But the U.S. should want a higher price. Again, this was only mark to market on Friday. There is no mark to market tomorrow. So I would expect nothing has changed. The dollar's worthless. The gold and silver, you can't inflate, would go up. So I can't imagine it not going back to where it was all the way back to 120 and 5,500 by the end of the week. I would be shocked. Because you've just shorted a bunch, you've way over shorted. Talk about an overbought market where they keep saying it's oversold. This market's ridiculous. So everybody shorted. Here come the longs. Here come the people buying it. So I can't see where that doesn't happen. There's no reason for it to happen. There's no reason for it to go down. It makes zero sense. Again, if you're going to get back into dollars, because this new Fed chairman who maybe comes in May, if he gets voted in, if he is able to do what he wants strong money. That's bad for inflation. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's not why we're doing this. The dollar's inflated. The dollar's worthless. Okay, you can't recover that. That's the first thing. The physical gold and silver, and that's what BRICS is already coming out with the gold-backed currency. So even if inflation went to zero, which is impossible, because of a new Fed chairman, the gold and silver are still going to go up because the dollar still has no value. So yeah, in the marketplace, you do it. But if you went to Germany now and you went to Deutsche Bank and said, well, here's $300. I want 300 euros. It would cost you almost $400 for it. Would charge you this huge premium because they don't want US dollars either. And I know I was there and I cashed 200. I went into the bank with 200 and no, I think I just went to an ATM and it was 200. It cost me 260. That was a couple years ago. So the dollar has no value outside of the US. In the US, the value is dropping because you go to the grocery store and you can't buy anything. So that's a big factor there. They don't have it. TK, no football anymore. No, we got football next week. Are we not going to watch the flag football game? Let's talk about that. I mean, how stupid is this? Okay, this is the NFL, who does not play flag football. They play tackle football, and you're telling me that the babies who play it don't want to get hurt and don't want to play a regular Pro Bowl, which you could see the All-Stars, and we're going to flag football, and you want to call this the Pro Bowl game, flag football? I don't get this whole flag football thing. What does that have to do with the NFL? Nothing. It's going to be in the Olympics. Why? What the fuck's going on here? Oh, they're trying to get everybody to play flag football. Guess what? Nobody's playing flag football. The people that play football are the people in college and pro. Me and you don't play flag football. I used to play like two-hand touch, right? So I would go and catch it, and then they'd touch me, and that was you'd run past patterns and have a quarterback and everything. Not a running quarterback, a throwing quarterback. So, I mean, I don't know where flag football, it's never been popular, is coming from. Oh, women can play. Oh, good for them. But to call it a Pro Bowl game and you're having flag football and a skills competition, what is that? Where is that coming from? That's just stupid. Do I ever watch the UFL? No, I don't. I don't pay attention to these Mickey Mouse leagues. I pay attention to the NFL. We bet it. College, we bet it. I'm not betting the UFL. I don't even know what it is. I don't know any of the players. I'd need to get data. I would bet it the same way. Who's the best team? Who's the best defense? Who's the worst team? Who's the worst defense? And bet it like that. But I don't. It's hard to watch Mickey Mouse. It's hard enough. The pro football is kind of subpar, but to get into this UFL or XFL or the WWE football, Vince McMahon, it's really hard to get into. I don't watch it. Anyway, I don't like hockey. I can't get into basketball. It's starting to be on NBC. I can't watch it. So it's just too boring for me. I don't want to watch a bunch of 3-point shots. It's stupid. So I'm basically, football is my main. Baseball we get into because it's every day, and there's nothing else on in the summer, and we just bet the pitchers, and even that is hard. These sports are getting away from what made them good. Baseball with this 5-inning pitch count, pitching, and all these 180, 190 batting averages is really hard to watch. When I grew up, you'd watch Willie Mays, you'd watch Hank Aaron, you'd watch, I was a little too young to watch Mantle, but you would watch these guys, and it'd be, Clementi's coming to the plate, and then you got to Mike Schmidt, and then you got, other great players. Now there's no good player at all. I don't consider, what's his name, Ohtani, a good player. I think there's a lot of bad pitching. He swings at low pitches, so pitch high. It's not that hard. How can they not figure it out? But I see him golfing at these pitches. Well, first of all, I probably wouldn't pitch to him, or I'd pitch high and outside. That would be it. I wouldn't pitch anything low to him, and I'd walk him, and I wouldn't care. But I don't think he's all that. I don't think there's any real good players in the league anymore. And so why watch it? right? There's nothing to watch, and that's a problem. And that was the key. You'd watch hockey because Bobby Orr. You'd watch uh, basketball because Wilt and Kareem, Jerry West, and those guys. Then you went to Magic and Bird and Jordan. Okay, that's why you watch the player. You don't have those players there now. When it's all these foreign guys, yeah, I'm hearing on the way home the radio. Oh, we can get Giannis. I don't even know who Giannis is. We can get Giannis. What is he? Who is he? If he's so good, why is Milwaukee wanting to get rid of him? Then you had the trade with Dallas and the Lakers. I have no idea who they are. Right? You can't even get regular players. Right? These are foreigners who you have no idea who they are. You didn't see them growing up, and you have no desire to watch them. They're not. If these are the best players, the league's in big trouble. So that's a big thing. You need the star. You need the Nicholas. I'm watching bowling. There's Earl Anthony and Mark Roth bowling in the Showboat Invitational. Okay, that's exciting. I can't watch bowling now because it's two-handed. It's fake. What do you mean two-handed? No. It's one-handed. If you can't bowl one-handed, go play tennis. I mean, that should be kind of illegal. But I guess there's with the revolutions that you get more strikes with it. Okay, who cares? It's a different sport. I'm not interested in it. You liked watching Marshall Hallman, Mark Roth, Earl Anthony. And I like Johnny Petraglia because I'm left-handed. So you enjoyed that. You enjoyed golf with Nicholas and Palmer and Trevino. And later on, you had Hale Irwin and you had Nick Faldo and Greg Norman and and Sevy. You need the star power. You don't have it in golf now. The best players, Stricker or something. I can't watch that. It's like, this is the best player. The guy stinks. So you watch that, Scotty, whatever. And same thing with wrestling. It's the same thing in every sport. You don't have the Hart, the Hogan, and the Ric Flair, and you got a bunch of guys. I have no idea who they are, and it's changed. And you're like, no, we're not watching the sport. We're watching the star. And in football, okay, we got Mahomes and Burrow, but here we got Darnold and Drake May, really? And then you guys want me to like the Drake Mays and like the Lamars and like the Caleb. These guys stink because I'm used to watching Montana and I'm used to watching Marino and players like that. Elway, that's who I didn't grow up watching them, but those were star players and the 84 Bears and the 85 Bears and Lawrence Taylor. And then it was the Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson. You're not giving me any of that. This is a joke Super Bowl. So you got Sam Darnold, who's terrible, against Drake May, who's never done anything. What kind of Super Bowl is this? I think it'll be a poorly watched Super Bowl, and I don't think it'll be close, and I don't think it'll be a comeback. Whoever gets up in the lead, gets up 14 points, the game's over. Drake May can't lead a comeback. He can't throw, and neither can Darnold if the pressure's on. So I think that's where running Kenneth Walker makes the difference. But this is the problem hurting sports. You want to see the star. That's why you watch anything. You watch movies. Where are the stars going? There is no star. I'm going through Netflix. It's the new month, and I'm looking, and it's all these. There's like 10 movies that I've never heard of, and I look at the description: CIA agent, policeman. You got 2 days to live, and the CIA, and the downfall of this, and it's all a bunch of CIA agents and police who are trying to rescue things. And even Taken, Liam Neeson, CIA agent. And you're like, enough with, can't we have regular movies? They can't make regular movies. It's ridiculous. They keep making Marvel movies with heroes I've never heard of. And then you make all these other, I'm excited. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo came back on Netflix. So I'll watch that later. I think I'll watch the Cowboy Niner, the catch game because it's Sunday. I'm going to watch football. And that's the other thing. You have all this competition with YouTube where I can turn on a 1982 Michigan Ohio State game, the 30-minute kind that you just see the highlights. Although I'm catching that they're showing every play real quick. Here's the play, next play, next play, next play. So I'm seeing that they're coming out with that where you get rid of all the bullshit. So you can watch that versus the live, right? So if there's a basketball game on and I want to watch basketball, I can go to Magic and Bird and 84 finals or 86 or 87 or 88, whatever years they were in. And I can watch those finals depending if I want to see Bird win or Magic win, which I don't. It's much better, more entertaining than anything they're going to show now. So they're actually competing with themselves. It's kind of unique. So back to what's going on with gold and silver. No, I don't watch World Cup. I don't like soccer. I think that's a joke. So anyway, Pat, where did you go? So back to our gold and silver. Everything should go back to normal. Again, if there wasn't the end of the month and it wasn't mark to market day, what was going on? We saw Tuesday, gold and silver were up. Wednesday, gold and silver were up. Thursday, it kind of leveled off a little bit, but not terribly. And then Friday at, what did I say, about 1 o'clock, 12:30, about 12 o'clock, it went down. Not even at 10 o'clock, it was 12 o'clock. So you think you made it through the 10 o'clock. And it's not profit taking, it's not consolidation. People that say that have their heads up their ass. That's not exact. It's not anything to do with that. But also, I'm talking physical. They're talking paper. So they don't even understand the game if you're talking paper. Well, they think it's a, what do you call it? It's not an exchange market, but they call it a futures market. They think it's a futures market, but you've got a problem. It's attaching the physical price to it. So us people that are collecting gold and silver, it's a physical market to us. It's not a paper. What did I just say? It's not that kind of market, exchange market or whatever. I hate when I do that. I can't remember what I just said. But it's not a forecast market. It's a physical market. You've converged two different animals. So it's like you took a lion and a horse and you made a new animal out of it. And that's what COMEX is. COMEX is not a futures market. Let me write that down. Futures market. Future. I don't know why I forget it. I guess because I don't really care. But see, this is the problem. So some of these guys are talking futures going, yeah, it goes up, it goes down, which they don't understand. That's all Ponzi scheme. That's how stupid some of these guys are talking about it as a futures market. I'm talking about it as a physical market. And that's why I show you in the physical world, this has no value. And in the physical world, this would never go down because it's supply and demand. The demand for this is huge. The supply is zero. So in the physical world, this would never go down. So the question is, Sunday night, are we getting the futures market or the physical market? And they need to be split. And that's what China and Russia are trying to do, is create a physical market, which they haven't done yet. If they've done a poor job of it. So anyway, so that's kind of what we're talking about. So we're saying in the physical market, it should go back up, because the only reason it went down is because the banks had to cover this on Friday, mark to market day. But now they don't have to. Now it's gone. There is no mark to market day. That was Friday. Now it's going to be the 2nd of February. So now it should go back to the physical market, which it was all of last week, right? It was 120 and 5,600. What was that? Was that physical? Yes. So now the mark to market players come in on Friday and saying, well, wait, we know we need a lower price so we don't go bankrupt. So the futures market comes in Friday and lowers it so they can look good and go, oh yeah, see, look, it's only $75 an ounce, whatever, because they're playing this stupid option game in the futures world. But everybody else is playing the physical game. And we're all sitting there, as our friend Frost says, I bought it at 84. If Monday it's not up, I'm dead. Well, I don't understand that at all. I mean, what do you think? Oh, I'll buy it. I can pay rent, in a day. I mean, he doesn't understand what's going on. I mean, you can't play it like that. Here we go. So I don't know what he's doing. It makes no sense, but that's not the game we're playing. None of us got hurt on Friday. Yeah, we lost. It lost value, but we're not in for a day. We're not in Friday, and then okay, now we're jumping in Monday, and oh, it goes back up. We're going to sell. None of us are doing that. At least I'm not recommending that in my class. In my class, what we're doing is getting out of the dollar. That's what we're doing. We're getting out of the euro or the Indian rupee, or as Pat's doing uh, with the yen, with the yuan, or people in Japan, the yen. That's what you're doing is you're getting out of the dollar because it's worthless. These people that don't understand inflation, or oh, the dollar strengthened, that's why it went down, or oh, Trump said his this is his new guy for the Federal Reserve, that's why it went down. They're full of shit. Their head's so far up their ass, they have no idea what they're talking about. So as long as we understand the dollar's worthless and you get into gold and silver, because those are the two lifeboats, and that's why I bring up the Titanic, because the Titanic will will go up. The Titanic's going to sink like the dollar, and you get into your lifeboat. And as long as we know that, that's exactly what's going to happen. We don't care about a single day or two, or the banks having to recover from mark to market day because it went up too high. Um, and notice it went back down to 75 and then up to 85. It's not like it went all the way down to 20 or 30 or 40. They took their shot. They shot their wad, and they got to 75 and then back to 85. So I'd say the minimum of silver on Monday after the 10 o'clock drop. Hopefully it won't drop because it's already dropped. I think this is a huge buying activity for all the banks. And they're trying to scare people. Oh, geez, look, it did drop. Maybe I won't buy it. I'll go into stocks. Maybe you get stupid people that might do that, but most people, I would see the banks seeing this at 80, $86 silver and 48.90, call it 4,900 gold, are salivating. It's so cheap, and that's exactly what they did. The mark to market lowered the price, and now they're going to come in and scoop it up. And I think that's what happens. They are still long on their books, the bullion banks, so they want a higher price. China and Russia and BRICS want a higher price. So as long as the players want a higher price, they understand, okay, we'll give you this day to get out of your mark to market to save your banks. But then now it's our turn on Monday. So I'd say the minimum gold price will be like 5,100 after tomorrow. And I would say the minimum silver price will be, let's see, 93, 94. I see it gets a lot of it back, if not all. By the end of the week, it'll be over 100. And gold will be back to 5,500, where it was based on supply and demand in the physical market. So COMEX is split in two. There's the futures side, the paper side, and the physical side. Now, we don't want the physical in COMEX, but there is no pricing of physical gold, and it keeps getting confused with the futures market, the paper market. Oh, if that's what the paper market is. And don't tell me the paper market is supposed to set the physical price. That's bullshit. The paper market sets the paper price. You're using all these options. You've got 10 times the amount of gold in paper than you do in physical. So there's no way you're setting the physical price. That's pure bullshit. So I don't see it. It's not anything. As I showed you, Attack on Wall Street. Um, the stockbroker, portfolio manager, they're there to get your commission. The guy running the firm, we do it for commissions. You just said it. It's all for commissions. We're not doing it for. We don't care about you. If they gamble and they lose, they lose. Well, yeah, but that's like that's not. I gambled and I lost. Like I'm playing poker. That'd be like I'm playing poker and the guy cheats on me. He pulls out four aces on me. That's not gambling, right? So when you guys delete the game and you take that whole real estate trust and you delete it, well, that's not they gambled and they lost. So you can see what they're doing, and they're doing part of that. They're doing part of the margin call where they delete the margins and they sell bad margins that are worthless, and they don't care because they got to save the companies. So that's what you're dealing with. That's what happened Friday. They were saving their ass, and they don't care if everybody gets hurt because nobody knows what's going on except for us. We know what's going on, and we try to take advantage because we know that the inflation's not 2%. So our key, our strength is we know this is worthless. And our key is the only thing to get into the lifeboat is this in gold. We know that. Most people don't. Oh yeah, it's a new Fed chairman. Yeah. Let's dump our gold because he's going to do what? Oh, the inflation will go away. No, it isn't. And the only reason you buy gold and silver is because of the inflation. No, it isn't. We buy gold and silver because it's an asset, and because the dollar is worthless, we buy it. Not because what the inflation's doing now. We know the dollar is done. We know it's worthless. There's nothing you can do. And the bullion banks didn't make the dollar worth anything. They dumped it out to save their ass, but the dollar's still worth zero. And as I say, in the long run, nothing's changed. The dollar's still worthless. And the gold and silver is real and physical only if you buy physical, and you can't lose in it. And there's very limited. You can't print it, and that's what the physical futures market tries to do is paper gold and silver. So they're actually printing, but it's paper. So you're selling an IOU, and we're buying not an IOU. We're buying the real McCoy, and you can't fuck with us. So yeah, it went down. Okay, let's look at it in terms of football. Let's say we bet, we bet Seattle, and Darnold throws his interception, and New England takes a 10-0 lead. Could happen, but the game's not over. It's 10-0 New England, and then here comes Seattle back, and Seattle wins 30-10, as we thought. So we're just looking at like a first quarter score 10-0. And then here Seattle comes back, and all we care about is the final score. What happened is the 10-0 New England. That's what Friday was. New England scored first 10-0. But the game's not over. Or if it's poker, some guy you got there's trips on board and you got 4 diamonds. You got 2 in your hand, 2 on board, trip queens on board, but I pulled a flush at the end. So it's winning on the river. It's not over until all 5 cards are out. Till you see the river, the poker game's not over unless you bet the guy out, right? If you bluff him out and get him out, then you win. But otherwise, it ain't over until all 5 cards are out. And that's sort of what you're looking at that happened in gold and silver. The guy threw a pick six. All right, they threw a pick six. It knocked the values down temporarily, but the game's not over. And the game will end when the dollar goes to zero. and you got gold at 25,000 an ounce and silver at maybe 2,000 an ounce. That's when the game, it doesn't even end, but that's what'll happen in the game. And so if you think about it as a game, all that happened was gold and silver got turned over, and they threw a pick six. The only difference, it was a fixed pick six done by the banks on purpose, hoping you wouldn't notice. But we still have the better team, and we're still winning the game. Sometimes I watch wrestling. If it depends if it's who the match is. Raiders want Mendoza. I really don't care. Everything is corrupt. Seems to be a lot of it. A lot of it is corrupt. Can't trust anything. Well, that's a good thing to have. Is you got to know who to like. You can trust me, but you got to know who to trust. Like I wouldn't trust Ray Dalio, and I wouldn't trust Jim Rickards, and I wouldn't trust Andy Scheckman. I wouldn't trust any of those guys. I wouldn't listen to them. I wouldn't trust them. Or Mr. Fuji AI guy. I wouldn't trust him either. He's AI. He doesn't tell you anything, right? So you can't, but it's good to know that the only thing you can trust is yourself. So I know without listening to anybody that this is worthless. Now, I learned that in my master's class where I trusted my professor. He was an Austrian economist from SMU, actually. So this, I know without listening to anybody, but learning what happened to the dollar as they print it, it goes to zero. And it's happened every time in the history of life. This, not backed by gold, goes to zero. So I know this is going to zero. So therefore, I don't have to listen to anybody. And then because I learned it, I go, where do I put my money? So I have 100 grand. Where do I put my 100 grand? And the answer was gold and silver, not in Swiss francs, not in euros. This is the only thing that survives because it's limited. You got to dig it out of the ground. You can't counterfeit it or inflate it by printing more. So that's why we're in this. So as long as we know that, and we're not listening to anybody else, it's just us going, the dollar's worthless. The Titanic sunk, the dollar sunk. You get in the lifeboat, it's gold and silver. So we're not listening to anybody. We're trusting what we've learned that we know is right. That's what we're doing. Just like a very limited Mickey Mantle card. We know it's worth a fortune, especially if it's a PSA 8, 9, or 10, and it's anything in the 1950s. Specifically, it's rookie card. If I pulled out a Mantle rookie, and I know this is in great condition, I know it's worth a couple $1 million, maybe more. I don't need anybody telling me it's worth it or anything like that, right? So I know what it's worth because it's limited, and that's the key to it, limited in condition. This is limited. You cannot print or counterfeit gold and silver. We know the dollar's worthless because all dollars go to zero. It doesn't matter if it's the reserve currency. That's a fantasy. That doesn't mean anything. If you print too much, fine, and it's worthless. And it's not the reserve currency, the gold-backed currency. The BRICS aren't using it. Africa's not using it. Brazil is not using it. I doubt Venezuela is using it. So nobody's using the dollar except for what, the UK and the US and Canada, I guess, and maybe Germany and Italy. Are the BRICS, are the Euro bloc using it? We got NATO collapsing. We got the EU collapsing. We've got the UK with a bunch of protests and riots, and we've got the same in France and the same in Germany. So these countries are all falling apart. Just look at it. You have to make that determination. You don't listen to anybody. So in your trust, you trust yourself, John Z. That's who you trust. Now you hear from me and you go, well, can I trust the professor? And you go, yeah, I think I can. He makes sense. What he said has happened. I told you to buy gold and silver at 25 an ounce, that it was going to 100. Sure as shit it did. And gold, I said, would go to 3,000 and then 4 and then 5, and it's done exactly that. So you can trust me because what I said has happened. I pick football games, and you see, let's go over in the Ram Seattle game, and it went over, right? Let's go under in the Ram Bear game, and it went under. So then you start trusting me, going, yeah, he's not bullshitting me. He knows what he's doing, and I can listen to him, and I can trust what he says because there's no skin in the game. If you buy gold and silver and it goes up, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything when you buy it. I mean, this kid who bought, uh, if Monday's not up, I'm dead. Is he bought silver with rent money? So I assume he's going to have to pay the rent. I didn't. That's not what I'm doing. I'm telling you to buy it for the long run, right? And it's been fine. And again, silver was at 20, 25 for a while, and at 30. And now it's recently gone to the moon because people realize the dollar's dead, BRICS is coming, more countries joining it. So I have all the answers of why it's going up, and they all make sense. But I'm not looking at the new Fed chair, and I'm not looking, that's just bullshit. That's just propaganda by the Joseph Goebbels US press. And all you can do is just ignore it because you know it's bullshit. Being stoic and conscious of everything is the best. Well, stoic, you try to be unemotional and you not let people affect you. So when people want to argue with me about gold or silver, I just walk away. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to, if you want to know, I'll educate you. But one guy wants to argue with me at the gym. Oh, what are you going to do when you sell the gold and silver? I'm like, no, that's the money. You don't get it. That's what the money is going to be, is gold and silver. And if we go to our BRICS country, that's what it will be. And, and he wants to fight with me. I'm not here to fight. I'm not trying to fight. I'm trying to educate. And that's the problem. So there's a whole thing on being stoic and you're alone, why you don't have any friends or you're alone. Well, because the friends that I need or want are right here. These are the friends because they want to understand gold and silver and football and poker. And we can talk about that and not have fights and arguments. Like Bobby comes in, we're not going to fight. We're going to talk about it, which is what we want. We want an outlet to talk gold and silver that everybody's on the same page. So, yeah, I don't want the friends who are going to be contrary to me. Like I said, even Jenna, my friend who's now from the Ukraine, is now in Germany, and she starts laughing. So, well, gold's going to hit 8,000. Now, I showed you Mark McGuire. That's going to happen by the second quarter. And she's like, oh, she's laughing. I go, why are you laughing? Oh, it take 3 years. Where are you pulling that out of? So she's a little contrary to me, which kind of pisses me off. I don't want to hang around with people like that. I don't want to sit there and argue and have to tell myself. Alyssa, on the other hand, I tell her what's going on and she gets it. And same with Daria. They understand what's going on and we don't argue about it. It's just, we agree. We understand each other. And in most things in life. You play poker, that's cool. Sounds good, TK. Yeah, I play poker. I play less of it now because I buy gold and silver. So when I would go play, I would play $300, 1-2 no limit at MGM downtown. And I'd take 300 out and I'd win 100, win 200, maybe lose 100. And then when I started really pounding silver the last year or so, it made no sense to play poker because at best I was going to win 100 and I could buy 10 ounces of silver for 300 and I had no risk. I know it was going up as it has. So why risk my money at poker where I have pocket aces and some guy's got 2 9s and he catches a 9 on the flop and now I've lost pocket aces to trip 9s or to a straight. And so therefore, I don't have any issues there, right? So again, I'm looking for risk and return. My risk at poker was I could lose the 300. I could win 100 or 2. I'm not going to win a lot, just the nature of how I play. But if I buy 10 ounces of silver, I know I'm going to make money. Now I was betting it at $30 an ounce. Now it was 120. So I made 4 times my value. I'm not gonna walk away with $1,200 in poker very often. I think my biggest win was $1,000. So I know that's going to happen, but I'm not going to I have no risk in the silver. All right, silver took a bad day, but for the most part, you'll see it'll jump back because of the reasons. There's no reason to knock it down anymore. And you knocked it down to 75, the banks, and now it went back to 85. So if you're going to keep knocking it, you would have got it from 75 to 65 or 55. So if it was going to go down, that was your moment, but it didn't. It started jumping back up. Believe me, everybody's going to buy it. If you're buying silver at 110 and knocking it up to 120, and now you see it for 86, are you not going to like you're like, oh wow, the sale's back and I'm going to buy more. So the buyers at 86 up to 120 are still there. And the buyers who bought gold at 5,500 up to 5,600 can now get it for 4,900 are still there. They didn't go anywhere. They're salivating. So did anything change? No. Did the Fed chair, does that matter? No. Did the dollar strengthen matter? No. Or profit taking, that's bullshit. Maybe in the forecast in the futures market, then maybe you profit take with that because it goes up and down and you're looking at a chart. But these people are idiots. In the physical market where we live, you're never selling. Very rarely. Like I said, you sell an ounce or two, you need to send Johnny to college or something. But basically, no, you're not selling it. You're certainly not selling it for the Fed. And you're certainly not worried about inflation. You understand the dollar's gone. So you're not even paying attention to inflation. Oh, it's 2%. Yeah. In what world is it 2%? That's like the Titanic. Well, there's only a little water coming in. Yeah, it's the water's coming in. Well, it's not that much. That's what they're trying to say. Oh, we fixed. Did you fix the hole? No. Well, then it's sinking, right? And that's really the key to it. The boat sinking, the dollar sinking, the euro sinking, and your only options gold and silver. Notice Bitcoin went down to 82,000. I checked that on Friday just to see what was going on. The stock market went down like 800, which is nothing. The stock market's the real danger. That's the bullshit Ponzi scheme. That value is nowhere near correct. That will crash and then as the dollar becomes worthless, the housing market crashes, the autos crash. Nobody's buying cars. Nobody can afford houses. That's not going away. All that happened was the banks covering their ass. That's done. You're done with the mark to market day. Now we're on a different day. And I'll be shocked if this doesn't jump back up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back to where it was and probably even higher. Because I think a lot of these banks were waiting on this. They knew it was going to happen. So they let the sell happen. And they knew when the bottom was 77 and 4,700. They knew that was the bottom. Let it run to there. And then here comes the buying. So China's probably just drooling all day today, waiting to buy these very cheap prices. And if we don't know what happened to Pat. We hope he's okay. Maybe he lost internet. That's happened a lot in Russia. Daria says we had bad internet today. And what's happening in Russia is the Ukraine's trying to do drones on Russia, even on like Moscow, and they use the internet. And so Putin takes the internet down so the drones can't attack. But then, like, Daria can't use the internet because the internet's down. So she had lost her phone. She didn't lose the phone. She needed a new VPN because she had to pay for her phone to get new internet. And then it was $20. So I gave her 20 for the phone, and now she's able to we use Telegram. The WhatsApp, they're kind of blocking it in Russia. That's it, not in the others. So that's really what's going on. So again, the hardest part to explain to your friends and family is, I don't really have dollars. I have gold and silver, which I'm not cashing in. That's the funny part. They go, well, I know you're making money in gold and silver because the price is going up. Oh, so you got money. No, I don't have money. I still don't have a lot of this because everything I had, I got rid of to buy this. So now I'm sitting in this. Yes, this is worth, well, figure 100. This is worth 200 an ounce, but I'm not cashing it in. I mean, that's the point. I'm not cashing it in. So I'm teaching Alyssa about economics. I gave her a 10-ounce bar way back when it was $30 an ounce. So it's $300 bar. Now the bar's at 100 is $1,000. And now I've taught her the dilemma. Well, what do you do with it? You know it's going to go higher. Do you sell it now or hold it until it goes higher? When do you sell it? So she's in that dilemma. She's not selling it yet. She's watching. And then last week I said, well, it's at 1,100. Now it's at 1,200. And she's freaking out like, oh my God, I'm making all this money, but it's in the bar, not in the cash. So you can sell the bar for cash, but the cash is not worth anything and the bar keeps going up. And that's what we're playing with. So yeah, I could sell an ounce of gold for 5,500 last week, let's say 5,000, or I can hold it. And then when it goes to 10,000, now I can get 10,000 for my ounce. So again, that's the dilemma is what we have is it just keeps going up and up and up. Forget Friday. It was mark to market day. So we keep buying it. We just keep watching the value rise because we understand the game. The dollar's worthless. It's gone and you have to get out of it. And the big boys, the banks and the pension guys and everything else is going into gold and silver, and all the BRICS countries are in gold and silver. So therefore the price keeps going up. Even though they're trying to price fix it in COMEX, they can't because BRICS won't let it. There's too much demand in BRICS because they know that's the poison pill is buy the gold and silver. And we win, and that's what's happening. So you're buying the gold and silver and say goodbye to everything else. So that's what's happening. So you hold on to it. But all the banks knew, okay, they allowed that to happen because now they can buy it cheaper. And there's no physical gold or silver sold on Friday. Who's running to sell it? Oh, I better sell it before it goes down to what, $10? You think it would go from $100 silver at 120 to 10? Well, we better get out of it. And then you watch it go back up. So I don't know, maybe a few people who just have no idea what they're doing. The idiots are actually sold their physical, but the only thought in my mind was to buy more, but I'm all in basically. So I'm just relying on gold and silver going up as my money. So that's my retirement. And that's my life insurance here's an ounce of gold, pay for my funeral, and here's an ounce of gold. My family will be fine. So that's really what it is. And that's as long as you understand that concept, you're fine. You have no worry, no threat. It's not going down. We can thank BRICS for that. It jumped up to 120 for a reason. It's going to keep jumping. The demand for silver is huge and the supply is zero. And as long as you understand that, then we'll get back on track. So now at the end of the week, if it's still at these levels, then we'll scratch our head. But I would say that the odds on at the end of the week, the odds on silver not being 120 are about 1%. And the idea of gold being under 5,500 is a 0.5%. It'll be bought up viciously by the banks who are looking at this as a sale of the century. There's no reason to sell. Nobody's going to keep selling. Like I said, if they were, it wouldn't have bounced back from 75 back up. You wouldn't have gotten this action. So at 2 o'clock, it's 47.25, but then it went over 4,900. Well, you wouldn't have gotten that action. It would have kept going down. Like, why did it go up at 2 o'clock? So you would never have had that action at 2 o'clock, right? Look what happened here. It went down to 5,000. It went back to 5,100. It went down here to 5,000. It went back to 5,100. It went back to 5,000. It was 50-50. So until like 11:30, it broke 5,000, where it actually went down to 4,800. So that was unusual. And then back up to 49 and then back down to 47. So they're just playing games, but if it was really going to fall, why did it come back at 4,700? So, yeah, and keep in mind, it's all based on options. They're shorting it, then they got to cover it. So when China starts buying these shorts and asking for delivery, where the hell are they getting it? So I don't know how much longer. Comex should be gone now. They don't really have gold and silver to cover when people buy their shorts and ask for delivery. They don't have any. So I don't know at what point it ends. I don't know why it hasn't ended yet. But I know if I'm China and I ask for delivery, I want the fucking gold. That's why I bought it, because I can't get gold. Here, gold's on sale at 4,900. It's not 4,900 in China. Pat, where did you go? So it's not 4,900, but that's the whole point. So you're it's probably 5,500 in China, right? So here I can get it for 49. So that's what they'll do. They'll buy it and ask for delivery. The question is there any there? And then at what point, if there isn't any, you don't have gold in the COMEX, then what are you doing? You're shorting. I'll buy it. I want delivery. I can't give you delivery. Okay, then at what point does it stay alive? So they can't short it to zero. I mean, that's going to fuck them because they do have longs that are there. So just as they had to get out of the shorts for um, the mark to market day, they also have longs that if it goes too low, they have to cover the long, which they don't want to do. So they'll lose their ass on the longs going down. This is the same as the shorts going up. So they'll have to push the price up. So again, this is a futures market, paper bullshit. It's not real, it's fantasy. And we need to get into the physical market, and that's what we'll do. Um, I don't know. I'm scared to show. Well, I think if I show like Mark McGuire or something, I'm okay. So like this, I'm not going to show you this, but here, Ukraine's military has collapsed. Now he keeps saying this, the war's over, the war is over. But when I watch the video, it's never over. He's saying it could be over or it might be over, but he's never saying it's over. So I don't really get the kernel, a lot of these kind of things. Uh, this had to be the stupidest thing. Danny DeVito as the Penguin had to be the stupidest villain I've ever seen. JP Morgan was skipped the Titanic thinking he'd escape. So he basically what this is saying is he knows the Titanic's going to sink, but he had a far worse death the year later. So I don't know what happened. So they knew the Titanic was going to sink. It was not an accident. And so we know how corrupt everything is, right? So we just got to get on the right side. I was just starting to watch this one. Why Stupid People Exist. These are great, but they basically tell you that people are stupid because they don't think. Like they'll hear, oh, the Comex went down because Trump nominated, not even elected, nominated this new guy for the Fed. And then stupid people will believe this. And they'll go, oh, it went down because he nominated, or it went down because the dollar went up versus the euro. The dollar strengthened, which is impossible. Um, so people who don't know how to think will think that's what happened. And we're like, no, it's full of shit. Here you go, some old bowling. The Budweiser Classic. I mean, these are classic thing. I like watching these. I used to watch them like every Saturday afternoon with my dad. It was a nice thing. Why 70s kids are the strongest? That's me. I was born in 59, so I'm kind of a why 70s because mentally you had to be mentally tough. You didn't have the internet. You had to find for yourself. You had to think. Uh, you got on your bike, or in my case, I think I walked a lot, but you didn't really have video games to play, and you didn't have the internet. You could call your friends, but we'd play a lot of baseball or football in the fall. We'd get 4 or 5 people together and just throw the ball around. So you had to invent games, and you had to think and reason, and you'd get a lot of body language and why did he say this and say that. I was in 6th grade and I had a girl pull my hair. She didn't think it was really my real hair in 6th grade. Yeah, I'm wearing a wig. Like, I didn't understand it. So she pulls my hair and I look at her and I'm about to grab her tits. I'm like, why are you? I didn't know who the girl was. Why are you pulling my hair? And then she knew it was real. But I had to react to that, right? That's not on the internet where you're chatting and things like that. This is real. She's pulling my real hair, and I'm like she didn't even ask. Instead of saying, "Is that your real hair?" and I'd say, "Here, pull it." She just pulled it. Now this is what people were talking about behind my back. Is this hair real? And you're like looking like, what are you, like fucking idiots? Like this is what you're worried about is so all these kids this is what they're worried about is my hair real. You shook your head. But that taught you how to react and defend, and it was live. And now you don't have that. You're going on Twitter or Instagram or net or YouTube, or you're going on these other platforms, and it's I want to get likes. So it's a whole different world. You don't know how to interact. You don't know how to talk to people, and like body language and all that. So that's the thing that's missing from the 70s. In the 70s, you talked and that was it. It was always that, where now it's got nothing to do with it. Let's see. To all Americans, we became a global joke. Yeah, we know it is. Our presidents are terrible. Trump wants to bully everybody. What the fuck's he doing? How does that work against Russia and China? You want to bully them? People with no friends have 5 super strengths, and that's me. I have friends, but not a lot, and it's got to be quality friends. Anyway, is there anything here? Why America can't think. See, if I play this video, I'm not going to get in trouble. Maybe I'll play that. I think we've seen it. Let's play it just quickly.
I didn't think that factor could help me reach my protein goals. Boy, was I wrong. 3 high protein breakfasts for a year? Yeah, that's real. Every meal's loaded. This isn't about intelligence. It's not about education IQ or whether people read books. It's about something quieter and more disturbing. Most people have stopped thinking independently, not because they can't, but because they've replaced thinking with something that looks like thinking, but isn't. They repeat instead of reflect. They react instead of consider. They perform opinions instead of forming them. And the most unsettling part, they don't notice it's happening. Arthur Schopenhauer observed this pattern in the 1800s. Long before social media, long before constant connectivity, long before information became inescapable, he watched people absorb beliefs from their surroundings, then defend those beliefs as if they'd arrived at them through careful thought. They hadn't, and he understood something most people still don't. The loss of independent thinking isn't dramatic. It's gradual, invisible, and it happens to entire societies without anyone realizing it. America is currently demonstrating this process at scale, not because Americans are uniquely flawed, but because the conditions that destroy independent thinking, constant noise, performative culture, comfort that removes the need for reflection, exist here in their most concentrated form. This is about what happens when a society stops thinking, and why most people never notice when it happens to them. When I say people can't think anymore, I don't mean they're unintelligent. I mean they've stopped generating original thoughts. Watch how most people form opinions. They don't gather information, examine it from multiple angles, test it against their experience, then carefully arrive at a conclusion. They absorb a position from their environment, their social circle, their media, their tribe, and then adopt it as their own. Within hours, they'll defend this borrowed belief with absolute certainty. Ask them why they believe it. They'll offer reasons, but the reasons came after the belief, not before it. They're justifying a position they inherited, not one they built. Schopenhauer called this thinking for oneself versus thinking with the crowd, and he observed that genuine independent thought is extraordinarily rare. Most people, he said, are not capable of thinking, but only of believing. Here's what that looks like in practice. Someone encounters a topic they've never considered before. Within minutes, they have a strong opinion about it. Not because they've thought it through, because they've quickly identified which position their group holds, then adopted it. The opinion isn't theirs, it's their tribe's. But they experience it as their own because they can't distinguish between the two. This is the first sign. Instant certainty about complex topics. The second sign is how they speak about their beliefs. They use language that sounds confident but contains no original observation. They repeat phrases they've heard, echo points that circulate in their circles, use the same words everyone else uses. Ask them to explain their position in their own words, and they struggle, because the position was never in their own words. It was always someone else's. The third.
So that's what you have with Peter Schiff and Andy Schectman and half these economists. Jim Rickards doesn't know what he's talking about. Rick Rue doesn't know what he's talking about. So this is the problem that you have. These guys can't think. They can't come in with their own thoughts. So they hear things that are said, and then they repeat them as if they're their own thoughts. That's why I get frustrated. I sit there and tell you what's going to happen in my own thoughts, my own words, understanding the dollar's worthless and gold and silver are the lifeboats. And as I showed you, this one guy steal my thing and saying, well, it's the Titanic and the lifeboat. He couldn't even explain it. He just caught the key words Titanic and lifeboat, and he was terrible at explaining what I was talking about. So notice this video, I don't have a problem with, they're monetizing it. The movies, I think I do, or The Rock's entrance or The Undertaker, I then tend to have problems monetizing it. But for some reason, these I don't. So that's why I get confused when I show it. The Attack on Wall Street was on my phone. It wasn't off the movie. It was off the movie, but on my phone, that was kind of surprising. So anyway, this is the problem. Now, people who aren't, Andy Schectman and these guys really struggle. So I'm in the hot tub with the guy, or in the sauna with the guy, and he starts arguing it. All he does is exactly what he just said. They don't think, they don't know why. They're just explaining, oh, well, gold, yeah, but it's, you're going to have to sell it for fiat money. So they've learned the term fiat. They don't know what it means. And I go, no, because I understand it. Gold's going to be the currency. That's the difference. They don't know that. They don't know the price is going up. They can guess it, but they don't know it. And this is the problem. So again, when I give you health, if you notice, I'm not sneezing anymore because the other day I put onions on the bottom of my feet and I woke up and now I'm not sneezing. It's a great thing. It's a great cure for the hacking, cough, sneezing, flu type of thing. An onion, fucking cut an onion, put it on the bottom of your feet. Now, again, that I found from listening to a doctor, but I was smart enough to listen and try it. And maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. It worked. So now I tell you guys, and I know it worked for Daria, and I know it's worked for Alyssa, tried it and it works. So I'm giving you information, but you trust me, and I do it first. So when I do cayenne pepper and Celtic salt and ginger in my water, I'm telling you I'm doing it. And then I say, hey, yeah, it works. And then you can trust me because I've done it and it works. So I'm giving you that. Hey, Kardec, will gold go up tomorrow on Comax? What am I, like the mind reader? Yes, it will. What is the expected opening for gold and silver? I have no idea. It opens about 6:15 in China, and I expect it. I expect tomorrow gold goes over 5,000, and silver will then be in the 90s. Now it could go much higher, but that's conservatively where it's going. And you can see that, as I pointed out, because near the end of the day, if you notice, it was down at about 230. But by 5:15, when it closed, it jumped back up to 4,900. So it went up 200. And the same thing with silver. It was down to 77 and it jumped back to 85. So because it did that towards the end of the day, I'm expecting it to continue. And basically, nothing has changed. All that changed was it was a mark-to-market day because it was the last day of the month, and all the banks would have went bankrupt. So the banks had to get it down to get out to post on their books. Hey, yeah, look, silver 75 and gold's 4,700. That was the post on their books. Why did they even need it? Just write it down. What's the difference? Again, that's all futures bullshit paper, not physical. In the future world, it's silver and China's 123. Gold, I don't know what it's at. Much higher than that. Much higher. It's probably near 5,000 or over 5,000, probably 52, 5,300. So keep that in mind. There's a divergent market. There's the futures market, and then there's the paper. We're in the physical. We're worried about the physical. We don't care about the paper. We don't care about the options. We don't like that the options are controlling the price. However, we do take advantage because you're making the price cheaper, and we thank you for that. However, it's not a real price. Now we want it to go up. Now, again, it didn't go down drastically. It had gone up to 120. So silver at 80, Jesus, silver at 86 and gold at 4,900. So it went down, but not too much. Like Christmas time, silver was $71. Well, we're still at 86. So it hasn't gone, it went down for them to cover for the mark-to-market day, but it didn't go all the way down to 71. And just like gold was probably 40, 45, 4,600, had gone to 5,500. All it did is really go back to 4,900 basically. So gold's 4,900. Believe me, the banks are licking their chops at getting it very cheap. So the banks are all in on it, and they're going, yeah, short it, yeah, for your mark to market, and then we're going to buy the shit out of it on Monday. So a minimum gold price will be 5,000, more or less probably 5,200. because the momentum will go. And silver, I'd be surprised if silver didn't get into back to 92, 93 on its way back to 120 by the end of the week, and gold on its way back to 5,500. That's where it was in the real world, and that's where it'll get back. So again, it was just mark to market. It wasn't anything. It wasn't like demand for gold and silver stopped. Oh, we don't need it, for the electric battery anymore and the solar panel. We don't need silver for that. Then we'd be worried, but it's not. The demand is huge. Samsung, all these companies, Apple needing it, are going to still need it. They're still going to buy it, and the supply is still limited. So in the physical world that we live in, we have no worries at all. If it takes a few days, but it just expose where they were, right? 120 silver, 5,600 gold. That's the market. That's where it'll go back to. So this is just, there was no reason for it to go back. So I don't know, opening. That's something that I don't know what the Chinese are going to do. I have an idea what they're going to do. If I was a betting man, that's what I would bet. But the open, I saw it last week. It opened and it was a straight line. So put it this way, by the end of the day, you're looking at 5,100 gold and probably 92, 93 silver, probably more, but I'm being conservative with that. Are you sure will gold go back to 5,000? Sure, I'm sure. I just told you. The demand is still there. Okay, let's go back. This is still worthless. This didn't get value. It can't get value. You've printed this to death. There's no more petrodollar. They're not using the FX market anymore. It's BRICS trading gold. China trading gold to Saudi Arabia for oil. There's no U.S. in it. And you can see Saudi is taking Chinese yuan to pay for oil, as well every other country. Africa needs gold for their gold-backed currency. The other members joining BRICS needs gold. The demand for gold is huge. The supply is empty. Very little supply out there. So we know this is worthless, and we know there's no supply. And then we know you're basically doing a Rumpelstiltskin and turning your monopoly money into gold and silver. That hasn't changed. There's very little gold and silver out there, and there's too much of a demand. That hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. You've just had a mark-to-market day, which is a bullshit day by the banks trying to say, "Hey, look, really, look, we're in it. We're doing well in our options." It's so stupid. They had to get out of their positions. That's all that was. Let's get out of the positions. And you see the bounce back at about 2:30. You see gold go back from 47 to 49, and silver from about 77, 79 back to 86. So you see the bounce back. That's going to continue. So yeah, I'm calling $20,000 gold, and I'm calling at least $1,000 silver, probably 1,500. And then when it hits, I'll call a higher number. But yeah, I mean, nothing has changed. Fundamentally, the ship still has a hole in it. The water's still coming in, and the only option is the lifeboat. So it's like saying the Titanic, they're starting to bail the water out. Well, do you think that'll continue? And it's like, no, the water's still coming in. It's going to sink the boat. That hasn't changed. The boat sunk. This is monopoly money. The boat has sunk, and your only lifeboat's gold and silver. That hasn't changed. This is bullshit what happens. And then they tell bullshit. But believe me, the banks are licking their chops going, hey, we can get gold at 4,800 and we can get silver under 100. We're happy. And so they have a second chance to buy it. But there's nothing that would knock it down again. You did your knockdown, and then it started bouncing. And China's not going to play your game. They're going to buy the shit out of it. So China, look for China to really make it. Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning, we'll have to see what happens, or noon tomorrow, to see how much the U.S., if any, pulls it down. I think the U.S. will be buying also because of these cheap prices. So I think by the end of the day tomorrow, by 5 o'clock, You'll see silver over 95 and gold probably back to 52, 5,300. There's nothing there that caused it to go down but mark to market day, which you don't have tomorrow. So yeah, I think it just goes to the roof, and that's what happens with it. So again, I'm not controlling it, but I'm as sure as I was that the Rams Seattle game would go over. You could ask me the same question: are you sure it will go over? And I'd say it should, and it did. So that's my point. The way Seattle drove on the Rams, they will do the same to New England, and that game should stay under, and Seattle should win it. I can tell you that. Am I sure about it? Well, they got to still play the game, but I've been damn hot the last month, so yeah, I would put money that 5,000. It will go back to. It'll go back to 5,500. I'm sure of that. Yes. After how many hours from now the market will open? Well, it's 12:46. 6 hours from now the market. I think it opens like 6:15 or so. So in about 6 hours, take a look. Uh, in India, it's 11 p.m. So when you wake up tomorrow, the market will be open at 7 o'clock in the morning. It'll be open. It's weird. It's 12:47 here, and it's 11. Like it must be like 10:47 there, whatever. But yeah, when you wake up at 7 in the morning, it'll be open, and you'll see it definitely jump higher. Because there's no reason not to. And again, if you understand what's happening, you will understand that it has to go up because again, the inflation didn't get any better. This still has no value. It didn't go up in value. Now they'll say, well, the US strengthened against other currencies. That still doesn't mean this has value. This still has no value. It takes more dollars to buy gold and silver and Fruit Loops and cornflakes and Pepsi and milk and Pop Tarts. It's still worthless, and it still takes more dollars to buy these things. But they can't raise the dollars too fast or nobody will buy it. So they have to go slowly up so to keep the buyers interested. But nothing has changed. The supply for gold and silver is still zero, and the demand is still huge. They need silver for all these products as well as money, and gold is the gold-backed currency. And all these countries joining BRICS has to have gold because that's what they're going to trade with is gold-backed currency. So nothing has changed. The demand's strong. Again, the dollar is still worthless. It's still a Snickers wrapper is the value of the dollar. So nothing's changed there. Trump hasn't done anything. And that's it. I mean, so if nothing's changed and it's been going up, it'll still go up. You're looking too much into this mark to market day. It does it every month, right? So go back to January for December, the end of December, or the end of November. Go back to the last day of November, and you'll see gold and silver dropped, and then right away it jumped back up. So again, it's just a banking thing. So the banks can say, "Yeah, look, our money's worth more," which is just phony. The money's not worth anything, or the bank's balance sheets. Oh, look, yeah, we got out of our shorts. That's all they're doing. The banks are idiots and they keep shorting it. And so they have to keep getting out of their shorts because they're too stupid to go long instead of short. Hopefully that's coming to an end, but I don't know. I don't know how much money they lose when they can't get out of their shorts or how much money they made because they artificially pushed the price down. But again, there's two markets: futures market, which is paper, and the physical market, which is where we are. So the physical market is kind of laughing at the futures market. Futures market, where we need to lower gold and silver. And the physical market's like, what the fuck are you doing? So they need to break. And I don't know how much longer the futures market will be there. And the paper market, it needs to go away. It's totally illegal. It's totally made off price fixing. We need to end that. But the problem is, it's the banks who run the government who don't want it because I guess they still make it. But the big difference is now it's not the US, it's the world. It's China and Russia and India buying, Saudi Arabia buying. So it's not just the US controlling the market, it's China and Russia controlling the market, saying, no, 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 we want a higher price. And that's why I'm confident it'll keep going. Without BRICS, I'm not sure. But with BRICS, not a problem, barely an inconvenience. So that's where it is. So that's why we keep thinking, because the inflation of the dollar, its value is zero. You printed way too many. It's not too many dollars tasting too few goods. It's the dollar printed to zero is what it is, and it's happened every time in history. The fiat dollar has gone to zero, and nothing is going to stop it from going to zero this time. Yeah, you can have AI and you can have digital currency. It doesn't change the fact that the dollar is worthless, and the gold doesn't change the fact that gold's going to the moon, because you can't. These digital currencies aren't real. Bitcoin isn't even a coin. It's certainly not digital gold, and stable coin will be the same thing. So it's all bullshit. It's not worth anything. It's a Ponzi scheme. How can you? It's like digital steak, right? Okay. Oh, I want to eat the steak. Well, it's only digital. It's not real. It's the same thing with digital money. It's not real. You can't hold it. You can't spend it. Nobody wants it. No, you can't buy it. Money has to be the most what everybody wants. That's how you came up with the dollar. You used to have tulips and cows and seashells, but what came out was the money. And you kind of had it in Rome, where they had the gold and silver denaros, where there were different weights so they could buy different things. That was kind of the beginning of it. But I think the Egyptians came out with, like they got rid of Roman numerals to regular numbers, and they also had real money. But again, it's the medium of exchange. So when you get paid, you need something that you want to get paid with. So you don't mind getting dollars, but imagine if you got paid in potatoes. Yeah, what am I supposed to do with it? I can't go to the grocery store and buy stuff with a potato. So they had to come up with something that you could get paid, that you could buy things with. So that's what money is something you can buy other things with as you get paid for it. So you get paid for your skill, and then you take that money and then you go and buy groceries and vacations and clothes and all that stuff. So again, it becomes what something that everybody accepts, and everybody, I can go with $100 bill and go to the restaurant, go to the grocery store, go get clothes, and go buy golf clubs, or on our debit and credit cards. They will take it because it's money. Although they don't trust it now and they're not thinking it's worth anything, but they still have to take it because the government forces them to. And there's no substitute right now. You can't really take gold and silver, but you can't take Bitcoin, or you can't take nano cards or anything but money to the grocery stores now. Soon we'll cash in some gold and silver and get money, whatever the new money is, and we'll use that to go to the grocery store and the restaurants. But that's what a medium of exchange is. That's what money is in the first place. Well, how can you have digital money? Nobody's going to accept it. Well, we'll have stablecoin. Nobody wants it. Sorry, I'm not taking stablecoin. I'll take money. And you're still going to use money, even though the money, which most people won't know, is worthless. So if you don't know money is worthless, you still take it. And then you just notice you can't buy as much with it, which is what's happening now. So what needs to happen is you replace the medium of exchange with the medium of exchange that isn't worthless. So you come out with a new one, you blame the Russians, and you say, well, here's USD number 2, but this is not inflated because the Russians got the plates on the first one. More bullshit. And that lasts about 3 months until everybody realizes that's not backed and that has no value. You don't measure inflation in prices, and you certainly don't measure it year over year in prices. Oh, look, Coca-Cola hasn't moved in a year, so there's no inflation. I mean, what are these guys? How dumb do they think we are? No, no, no. There's massive inflation, and that's not how you measure. It's not prices. It's how much did you print of the money supply that's worthless. You cannot print as much as they print every month to pay all their workers, and you got to pay the interest on the debt that the value of the dollar that you're using to print out of thin air has value. So it doesn't. And they're not getting away from all the money printing. Nobody wants the treasuries because it's worth nothing. And that's what you're looking. So to answer your $5,000 question, there's your $5,000 answer. The money is worthless. They keep printing it. Nobody wants the treasuries because the dollar's worthless, which puts you into gold and silver. So does it open at 5,000? Probably, but if it doesn't tomorrow, it will on Tuesday or it will on Wednesday. I'm not worried about it. I'm not running to sell it. That would be the stupidest thing to do. I'm never running to sell my gold and silver unless I have a bill or vacation. I'm not looking to sell it. I'm just looking to hold it and wait for the price to keep going up. I mean, like I said, let's go back to Christmas. Silver was $71 an ounce and went all the way to 120. So yeah, it ran a lot, which is what caused the big drop, but it'll run a lot now that we're out of that day. But nothing's changed. The dollar is still inflated to shit. It's still worthless. The only out's gold and silver, and there's no new supply. So nothing's changed from what's been going on. So yeah, everything should jump back up. Will it take a few days? I don't know. It shouldn't, because these banks are drooling. I can get gold at 4,800. Thank you, or 4,900. I mean, they can't. They're nervous, waiting for it to open. It's like having four queens. You're shaking that you want to. Oh, I want to bet already, right? I'm trying to stay composed and not show you I got four queens, but I got four queens, and that happened to me once. I had like four eights. So I had a pair of ace. The flop comes 8-8 ace or something, and the first guy goes all in, and the second guy goes all in, and the third guy calls, and I'm going, this is. I know nobody's got a full house, and so I'm just loving it. So I of course just call with my four eights that I know I won, and then the last guy didn't call because I called, and he's wondering why all in, all in, all in. But he knows if I called, after all these all ins, I got it. And nobody, I don't know, some guys had possible straights or flushes or whatever. And I'm sitting with four eights. It was like, and you're trembling, waiting for it to come. It's very hard to compose yourself when you flop four of a kind, to sit there and act like calm and nothing happened. So that's the one tell when you're kind of shaking that you have. So again, keep that in mind. So I'm sure China's like drooling, shaking. Going, I can't wait till it opens. I can't wait till it opens. Anyway, I think that's about it. So not much on today. I mean, that's the point of YouTube. We can watch. I think I'll watch the catch game with Joe Montana. I always enjoy that one because I enjoy the ending. And you can see that's what made the Niners. You knew they were going to be good for years. They won the game. That's the difference. When the team doesn't win that game, they choke. And when they choke, like the Lions choked to the 49ers, they're not going anywhere. Had the Lions won the game over the 49ers and gone to the Super Bowl, win or lost, that would have been a big deal. But they didn't, and they'll never will. They won't come back. The draft picks are going to be too low, and they won't be able, and they don't know how to draft anyway. So, yeah, it's easy to draft the first 5-10 picks, a running back, a receiver, a defensive lineman, and a offensive lineman. However, you missed all the defensive players you should have been drafting instead of a running back and receiver, which you could draft in the third round and be just as good. Johnson, you're saying hi to India. Okay. So anyway, that's really what it is. And we'll talk tomorrow. And I can't imagine that I can't imagine gold being under 5,000, and I can't imagine silver being under 90. I assume it'll be much higher. Gold could get to 52, 5,300, and silver certainly could get to 100. We will see, but there's no reason it won't. It's got nothing to do with the future side of it. They've shot their load, pushing the price down. They have no reason to push the price down now. They got out of their options, I assume, because it went back up, and now it's, if they have gone long, as Mark McGuire says, then they'll want those prices back because they're letting those prices go to 120 and 5,500. So I'm sure that's where we'll be back. It just happened to be market day. So again, that was the reason. That was the cause. That's the reason. But you won't see it this week. It'll just be the bye blue. It'll just go boom. You'll see it go back very quickly. Who's my favorite wrestler? Really? All right. I think that's it. Have a good day. Take care. We're in February now. And that should be it. So enjoy your day. I know it sucks, no football. I'll go to this pool about 3-ish. The pool closes early at 4:30. I hate that on Sundays. So normally I go about 2:33. I get on the bike and then I do my pool, and we'll see. So anyway, it's nice to get out, hit the grocery store, get some snacks, and go from there. All right. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. I will see you tomorrow, and we will see where it's at. Again, my prediction, at least 5,000 gold and at least 90 silver, but I think it'll be 5,200 and 95, $96 silver. I think it just jumps back, and I don't know how much buying they can do. I don't see where they're going to keep shorting it and keep the price down, because if they were going to, it wouldn't have jumped back, right? It would have kept falling. I saw it kept falling, and I was getting frustrated. Like, well, let's go up now. Stop falling. Let's go up. And finally, we did get that 230 shoot up, and that's what I've been waiting for, and I feel much better now, because you don't know how much they're gonna push it down, but it's gonna get pushed back up by the BRICS countries. All right. Have a good day. Enjoy. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody.